22.5 meters per second, and his X component is 39 meters per second. Finally, what we really want to do is find out the height upwards he launched so that we know his total height when he reaches the ground. How far did he actually have to fall, and if there was any chance of survivability. The only thing that is opposing him is gravity, 9.81 meters per second. Bonjour, bonjour. Comment ça va? Hello everyone, let me just work. Bonjour. Ah. Why was he even there? That's a great question. Why was he even there? I take no responsibility for his death. Totes the goats, not my fault. We are alive. We are indeed. Conrad the Arisen. Hi, Harry. Hi, Sari. Werewolf, welcome in. Dan. Hope you're all keeping well. Congratulations, Steve, on getting the first. It's always fun hearing how you make gnome jam. 155 streams, Harry. That is incredible. Welcome in. Welcome in. Some major streakers in the chat. Hi, Yasha. Welcome in. Hope you're keeping well. Our coffee. Ready to hear the music. Supposedly there's music. Streaks in the chat. Only streakers allowed. Exactly, exactly. Welcome in, welcome in. Good morning. Or time zone. It's almost morning. Yeah, it's well, almost morning sounds like it's about to be morning. Although it's always about to be morning. It is 1:15, or 12:15 even. Oh my god, it's 1:45. Listen. I think it's time for a nap. Will there be a streaker at tonight's game? Great question, Agent. Great question indeed. Yasha, 3-stream streak. Let's go. I don't know if I'll be watching the... what time is the match on? England versus... Oh, not England versus Argentina. Spain versus Argentina. What time? At 8 p.m. Okay, yeah. I will be watching it then. Yeah. Good afternoon. Hi, Andreas. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope Italy's treating you well. Is there still a heat wave there? At the end of my most recent Veilguard run. Love this game. Veilguard? Is that Dragon Age Origins you're playing, Corby? You're killing it! Playing so many video games and reading so many books. Do you even have a life outside of that? It is Dragon Age. Nice. I think the game is actually starting at 9. It says 8 for me, and Google is usually good for my time. Not really, no. I don't have a life, but that's the best kind of life. That's true. That's true. If you're having a busy life, I think that's a good life to have. Oh, the live starts at 20. Ah, kickoff doesn't start till 9. Fair enough. In rugby, it's usually like the live thing goes 15 minutes before kickoff. Have to do the anthems and all of that. I'm guessing there's a whole show, a whole concert they're going to do. Hi, John. How are you keeping? Hollow Knight. Oh. What game has nice soundtrack? Any OST recommendations? You have Baldur's Gate 3 music ready here. Hi, Zier. Yeah, I play a lot of Skyrim. So much. Oh, do you know what music I never play? Is Fallout OSTs. I never play Fallout OSTs. I find Fallout very cozy. I feel like that is a game I would love to play over November, December. It's just such Christmas vibes. Although Resident Evil feels very Christmassy for me too. Yeah, Resident Evil and Fallout feel like my winter wonder games. Am I psycho for that? No, it's this... No, I'm not psychotic. I'm right. It is a lovely game, I think. A lovely, lovely cozy game for sure. I can't be playing the radio now because the radio is copyrighted music. Just the OSTs I was looking for. Hi, Tynek. Hi, Michael. I too love beating giant cockroaches to death with a prosthetic leg I found in the bin. Do you know what? I feel like that would be great for some like anger management therapy. Could be wrong though. Nanette, welcome in with your 40 stream streak. Let's go. I've never seen that duck emote. Lilia, run. Plastic lenses are hard to clean. They are, yes. The glasses, because I wear glasses all the time, you don't realize just how much like oils and bodily secretion one deposits on their glasses. That sounds very weird. Hi, Lind. Привет. Welcome in. Hi, Science Research. Welcome in. Especially if you put photos of your mortal enemies on the cockroach. Very good, very good. Oh, did I need him. Set up card. Oh yes, submit women in STEM. I just have a lot to get done next week. And so I'm making a to-do list of everything I need to get done in a week. I really need to remember that. Very, very important. Yeah, I think it's a bit too loud, Yitkis. I think the ratio should be nice now. Welcome in, by the way. Wait, I have that fan the same behind you. You can, yeah, you put water in, ideally some cold water. I think we got it in Lidl. Sorry. Is it Lidl or Aldi? Yeah. Hi, Jay. How are you doing today? How are the mines treating you? Help chat. I have much to do and zero will. How to solve. I feel like that is all of me last month, Conrad. My social media has kind of collapsed in the last month. Like my YouTube, my Instagram, TikTok, even Twitch, I would say. No, it hasn't collapsed. That's a strong word. But like I haven't done anything new or innovative or, haven't put in a lot of effort. It's been so unmotivational the last month. And it's not burnout. It's not that. It's literally the heat is just awful. It drains the soul out of me. Yeah. What I wouldn't do for some 15 degrees right now and some rain. What I wouldn't do. It's currently 37 degrees Celsius in the mines. Oy, oy, oy. That's a good temperature for a mine. True. That reminds me, I don't know if this, I think this is true, but they also depicted it quite well in Chernobyl, the HBO TV series, where when they had to dig out a lot of the sand or the rubble, it was extremely hot, and so they wouldn't allow fans to be in operation to cool down the miners because it would pick up a lot of the radioactive debris and get into their lungs. So they dug out a lot of the part, but naked. Yeah, it's a way of keeping themselves cool, literally. Butt cheeks and penises out. So hot. It was a sad series, yeah. I know a lot of people criticize it for its inaccuracies, but I thought it was really well done. Like, nothing is going to be 100% accurate. Certain roles were made up. Order of things ever so slightly got not mixed up, but purposely a creative direction was taken to be as accurate as you can be, but also simultaneously like take a lot of direction in as well. I don't know. It's the same way I feel with a lot of sci-fi movies. People can be very aggressive of the physics is so bad, the science is so bad in this. It's like, oh well. They did, yeah. They accepted that there were dead men walking. the 3 divers that even went under the water knew that what they were signing up was that they were going to die. They asked for 3 proper diving volunteers. However, those 3 divers actually ended up surviving. They were one of the rare, miraculous ones. And this is kind of, what's the word? Oh, God, my brain is deteriorated a bit. Sorry. Oh, I was going to say something and I forgot completely. Lost track of my brain. Need to keep an eye on that. If I keep doing that, chat, we might need to go to a doctor. Just saying. Yes. Bye, brain. Yeah, I left my brain. We were talking about Chernobyl. Yes, Maggie. Yeah. Also, how much was hidden by the Soviet Union? Yep. A lot was. Hi, Kvazir. Welcome in. Supposedly a good book worth reading is, what's his name? Antonov? No. Antonov was one of the engineers. Who am I mixing up? The guy who ended up being the scapegoat in the end. He wrote a book. He went to prison, basically. But he wrote a book how he basically blamed all the Soviet Union, I believe. Dyatlov, I think it was Dyatlov. Yeah, he wrote a book afterwards, basically blaming Soviet Union for everything. Scapegoat, even though he didn't do anything wrong. I wonder if it's worth reading that. But I have to finish my... Like, I can't keep buying those books because there's another book for that also was interesting and I need to... I decided to get a biography on Gorbachev. Gorbachev. I don't know how to say it. Gorbachev is how you say it in Russian. I don't know how to say it. How do you say it in English? Gorbachev? I'm trying to put on a bit of American accent there. Sorry. Not very good at it. Anyways, I need to finish reading that, but that turned out to be 1,000 pages. So, yeah. Retired Japanese engineers, volunteers to fix the issues in Fukushima. They knew those who went subjected to. Michael, thank you so much for your raid. Welcome in, raiders. Welcome in. Where's our raid command? Hello.
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations. Lay in an intercept course for the Romulan ship.
Shields up. Load all torpedo bays. Stand by phasers.
Warp factor 8. Engage.
Hello. Welcome in. What were you guys doing today in science and technology? Welcome in. If you guys aren't absolutely burnt out from doing science, you're more than welcome to hang out. We're just chatting. We're just setting up the stream, and then we're going to kick off with some resistors and parallel and combinations problem solving. Oh, biography of Lenin's. What is to be done at the moment? Really good. But oh, nice. I feel like a lot of biographies aren't that well written. I also gave up on a Marie Curie one, and I didn't think it was that great. But biographies are not meant to be like dramatized page turning books, you know. Except for Arnie's book, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I highly recommend you guys read his book. You don't have to be a fan of him, and I'm not a fan. I swear, I don't have coasters of Arnie all over my house. I totally don't. But I highly recommend his book. His biography is just a life truly lived, is the way I can express him. Like, what a character. Just such a character. We were doing some Linux updates. All right. I haven't been really playing around with Linux. So you really like strong men, huh? Bonnie Tyler's, okay. What about Picard's one? Not Picard, what's his name? The actor for Picard. He also released a biography. I wonder if it's any good. It was reviewed quite well, I thought.
Still only counts as one.
What's his name? Sir Patrick Stewart, thank you. But his book is called something from Star Trek, right? The title of his biography is some Star Trek pun. Am I mistaken? Like, rightly so, or... Making it so. There we go. Thank you. There. I thought it was a pun, yeah. He also had a very interesting performance in a filmed dramatization of Shakespeare's Macbeth. So Patrick Stewart plays Macbeth. If anyone is like interested in kind of those performances, I thought it was quite good. Okay, I did like Roald Dahl books growing up. I thought they were very good when I was a kid. There's so many books that I thought were really good as a kid, and I think I'll try and bookmark them in my brain, and I'll never forget that totally. If I'm lucky enough to have kids of my own to be able to read them, those books with them. Like, it's awful. I've seen so many amazing toys for kids because we bought because I'm an auntie. Like, I buy presents for my nieces and nephews, but there's really cool stuff. Like periodic table. Do you know the way you learn out the alphabet by putting blocks of A's, B's, and C's into like this thing, little grid? Instead, there's a periodic table version of that. So imagine teaching your 1.5-year-old the elements of the periodic table and the order of them. I don't know. That sounds like a... Hi, Spooky. Welcome. Did you see the Picard series? No. It's probably something we should watch because I'm not a big fan of a lot of the new Star Trek. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I grew up on the older ones and I fell in love with the older ones. I don't like the new aesthetics at all. I don't like the plots. I can't fall in love with the characters. I really don't like the characters. Yeah, it's very hard for me to watch anything past the new Star Trek movies. And by new Star Trek movies, I mean the 2000s one. Hi, Fifik. Hello, One Bad Hole. As I take the first sip of coffee, I read the title as Reactors in Wait, did I actually by any chance? As Enterprise is your Star Trek, your bar was low to start with. Listen here, Spooky.
Commander, set a new course. There's coffee in that nebula.
Listen here, you little shit. Coffee indeed, chat. Coffee indeed. Yeah, but I think Picard might be the one that we would watch. If there was anything of the new TV shows to watch, maybe that's the one. Because I've tried the one, what is it called? I tried Strange New Worlds. I wasn't really into it. I tried a couple of episodes. Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. What else? Below Decks I haven't tried. I haven't seen Below Decks, so I can't judge that one. So maybe I'll give Picard a go. But I come into it so judgmental. I'm actually such a prick. Like, someone needs to stick a needle in me and, like, prick me to just... why I'm like that. The Pike one was weird, was it? How are you doing, Mort? Oh, I forgot! The University Academy one. I didn't even see that one. Like, I would watch it for the Doctor, obviously. Is the only saving grace of trying to get me to watch it, but I don't know how good it is. The University One Academy. Nope. Maybe I'll give Pike a go. Yeah. And I haven't tried the University one. It got cancelled, didn't it? What was it? Oh, sorry, I hit my ring there. 2 seasons or something? Star Trek and Star Wars has really bad writing lately. We have to wonder that perhaps we're just getting old. You know, we're not the target audience for Star Trek or Star Wars anymore. They were they were aimed at, they're trying to catch newer generations, newer kids, newer nerds. And we're just not it, chat. We're not the target audience anymore. They might try to keep some of the old hardcore Star Trek fans. Perhaps. Yeah, I think Below Decks is probably the one I should watch. It seems like something that I would enjoy. I don't think they're after... Oh, is that the problem? That they're not after nerds? They're not making it nerdy anymore. Hi, Rockout. Hey, Smiley Virus. I feel that. I stopped watching Doctor Who when I realized it was good. Hi, Anything and Hunter, by the way. I didn't say hello earlier. I'll agree that some of the new Star Trek sucks. Lower Deck was pretty good. Strange New World isn't too bad. Picard was more fan service. Would have been Spaces. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll give Lower Decks a go. It sounds like something I might enjoy, so I'll be open-eyed, and maybe I'll watch Picard because you know I love like the classics. Yeah. I never watched any Doctor Who. We didn't have any Doctor Who in Ireland. Like, we just didn't have access to a lot of British shows. Like, when I was growing up, what was on TV after dinner was Neighbours, Simpsons, Home and Away. Maybe any Irishman in the chat can add or subtract anything to what they were growing up with. But that's what I remember. Fan service is in like reference to old school stuff or like booby? Because fan service means something else when I watch anime, or when I used to watch anime. Two Aussie shows, yeah. Yeah, Neighbours and whatchamacallit, Home and Away were extremely popular. There was another one, Coronation Street was another popular one we had. Coronation Street and what else? There was another show I'm trying to think of. EastEnders, that's the one, yes. Hi, Barry. No, not Emmerdale. We didn't have Emmerdale. I don't even really know what that is. So Coronation Street, I can't, was it on RT? I think now. Because obviously we had RT1, RT2, Channel 3, and TG Caher. I can't, so obviously we had 4 possible simultaneous channels, but I can't remember. I didn't watch too much TV growing up. EastEnders was BBC. Yeah, but again, we had it on Irish TV, so it wasn't even just BBC. We had it with stuff. Hi, Gavitron. Welcome in. Welcome in. Interesting to think about it. But yeah, Simpsons was very, very popular for sure. Simpsons was on 6 o'clock always on RT2. You have a headache, Tetsu. Well, try stubbing your toe so your toe hurts instead. That's what my parents used to say. Or no, I think they actually were a bit more violent. What did they used to say? Come over here and I'll give you something to be hurt over, or something like that. Yeah, there's a Russian figure of speech. A lot of Russian humor is about alcohol and violence. Don't take it to heart, chat. It's just normal. Cry about it is a very English, yeah. But yeah, in Russian it was come over here and I'll give you something. Yeah, cry about, I guess, yeah. Are you part Russian? I guess so, yeah. So my dad is Ukrainian, my mom is Russian, but I was born in Russia. Um, didn't really grow up much there, unfortunately. Well, depends which fortunate or unfortunate. Look, I spent all my summers in Russia, and I reflect on it that it was really, really good to be exposed to another culture. Just growing up there, the summers were very, very good, but I did move away when I was 6 months old, so I don't know any better. If I have a headache like that, it would hurt me too. Oh, if I had a head like that, Mr. That's so mean. That's so mean. Imagine you spent your winters there. Yeah, I never spent a winter in Russia, so I don't know what Russian snow is. I never experienced it, so I only was there every summer growing up. You think that's pain? I'll show you pain. Hi, Brackus, welcome in. Hello, Adam. Have a good stream and fun with Mass Effect. I hope I will as well, Adam. I hope we all watched Cora's ending to Expedition 33 through the tears and heartache. We raided into Cora as she was finishing Expedition 33. It was yeah. Absolute class game. Yeah, same ending as me. I did replay immediately the ending just to see what the other ending was. Because, again, hindsight, you don't know what is the best option. But after I saw the other ending, I was like, oh, I'm so glad that that was the ending I chose. Oh, I prefer the cold Cabal. Although, again, like I said, I don't know heavy snow, so I can't judge too harshly. Do we have any Ohm's Law stuff today? Yes, we're actually going to be continuing our lesson. I'll do a quick revision of Ohm's Law, resistors in series and parallel, and then we're going to kick off with some combination circuits. Maybe we'll get to more complicated stuff. Let me see. Basically, my goal is to put up a bunch of stuff on the board, like different circuits to analyze. Maybe... Or, yeah, the other option is like we can derive the potential divider equation and the current divider equation. I don't think we need to. Yeah, we can try like some fun problems. You know, like resistors and weird switches and stuff like that. That might be fun. Maybe Wheatstone Bridge, yeah, we'll see. Done. So I estimate I'll put aside about 3 hours of teaching y'all physics. See how much we can get in 3 hours. So if you're very, very good, very well behaved, and productive. It is Floyd. Fan of Floyd when it comes to electronics. You might principles of electric circuits. I don't know if it's normal in a physics degree. Most physics degrees that I've ever been on have some sort of circuit analysis module. They do one module of some sort of DC AC circuit analysis. How much into depth physicists cover this, I do not know. It's up to the university. So in my university, they feel like it's important. There's a chain of modules, like semester 1, semester 2, semester 3. That's really, really good. And even though it's not pure physics, it's very electrical control systems, monitoring kind of thing. What's really good about it is it's a fantastic set of courses if you're an applied physicist, have to build stuff. Number 2, the employability on these modules is really, really high. We get a lot of feedback from jobs saying that this module that you teach is the thing that helps physicists. So we find that teaching physicists a bit of electrical engineering is very important. I mean, that's the thing. Like, what's the difference between an engineer and a physicist? Like, when you, generally speaking, obviously, physics is a very, very different field. But when they finish a 4-year degree, a physicist, what kind of jobs are there in the market for them? You don't get a job called a physicist. No one does, unless again you're either like me, physics lecturer, researcher. But outside of that, yeah, I feel like most physicists just do a little bit of everything. They do a little bit of electrical, mechanical, a little bit of programming, a little bit of, even chemistry. It's all about being a super interdisciplinary problem solver. Complicated matrix calculate circuits. Yeah. I do the same, Mr. Shine. I solve circuit analysis using a matrix, and then I say, this is how you do it if you ever want to do it. But I'm not going to do it anymore. Do you have discussions about AI? Sometimes we talk about it, Spirit, but not in a good way. I am quite negative about Gen AI. Yeah. We went to the T and Delta circuits. I doubt any of it. There are a lot of companies that would actually need a lot of people, faster people. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not even that negative, but I'm just kind of showing a little bit of, let's say you have some sort of lab. Like, why would you hire a physicist over an engineer? Selling point. This is where I think selling point. Hey, Igor. I did a lot of electricity electronics in my computer science degree. Nice. Like Kirchhoff's law and star transfer. Yeah. We don't call it star transform. We, as in my module, I call it the delta Y conversion and Y delta conversion. But yeah, I know that it can be called star transform as well. Because if you put the triangle and the Y together, it makes a star. Makes sense. No, it is called a star transform. So delta, shape, Y. You put them over each other. That's the shape that you make. And there you need physicists in the upper layer because they very well what and how, not why. Yeah, we tend to talk about that a lot. The why is a figuring out aspect of it. Mostly in my degree and in the 2 universities I've worked with, what we try to sell the bachelor's degree of applied physics with is that it's a problem solving degree. Basically, let's say you have a role, right? And it's not a mechanical or electrical engineer. It's something like system control and electronic devices engineer. Something like that. There's no degree with that name. I just made it up. Who do you hire that? Electrical engineer, sure, but they don't know anything about this other aspect. Who do you hire for that role? Usually that's where physicists come in. It's because of their broad background, have a little bit more scope, basically, to work in that. But I think another thing that's a great selling point in physics, or in Ireland specifically, is that most of Ireland does this thing called the 4th year project, which is where you do a research project in the whole module. You get graded on this. What's fantastic is you can put that on your CV, and it is considered quite independent research. It's very important. It shows great independence, and then you can link that to job employability, if that's something that you do. I have no idea what Lolo 1, 2, and 3 is, Lostage. Sorry. Not familiar with those terms. Mechatronics, automation engineers. Yeah, we do actually have a new automation course. Yes. NES games. Too old school. Ah, I see. I didn't get it. Sorry. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Like I advertise myself with data science experience, even though I have no data science background, no degree or anything. But I'm a physicist. I grabbed data. I did data science to it. Technically, when I was first looking for jobs, that was one of my buzzwords that I was looking for. What's wrong with tofu not being that old? I'll still be old one day, if I'm lucky enough. We'll all be old. We might as well just enjoy what we have now. You know what they say, old is a state of mind. Jeez, my hands hurt so bad. Today was arm day. Oh, absolutely. It was on vanadium flow batteries and the electric grid. I think a command with a little bit more detailed information there if you're interested. I'm old. It's overrated. I can understand that. I could get, yeah. Exactly, Mr. Shen. That's what Nathan says all the time, like I'll always be his young wife because I'll always be younger than him. Okay, that's the second time someone called me a whippersnapper. What the hell is a whippersnapper? Can I Google it? Is it safe to Google that word? Often humorous term used to describe a young, inexperienced person who acts overly confident, cheeky, or disrespectful. A young, inexperienced person who is cheeky and confident. I see. Yeah, Tofu, get off my lawn. I see how it is, chat. I see how it is. Turn on the fan for a little bit. It's getting hot in here. Getting hot in here. I've spent some time in the Irish sphere of influence. Welcome in, Aya. One of my best friend's thesis was about the effect of climate change on bees. Aw, that's a really cute, sorry, I say cute as if that's demeaning. I don't mean that. It's just, it sounds like a really lovely project. There was a lovely recent post about a kid in Japan. I think he's 8 years old. And he did a study for a science fair on if caterpillar can remember him after they turn into a butterfly. Isn't that the cutest study ever for an 8-year-old? And it turns out they did remember him. After a caterpillar turned into a butterfly, it still retained memory. Isn't that so cool? Hi, Sham. Actually, a lot of my videos on YouTube are electrical engineering series. I think I even have a playlist if you want to find it. How much time did you dedicate to your PhD? I was quite lazy in the first 3 years. The last 2 years, I worked really hard. Were you able to have another job or not? No. Streaming, but I wasn't earning that much money at all. Peanuts. No, I don't think you can do a PhD while maintaining a job. The thing is, you get paid to do a PhD. You get a stipend. It's kind of minimum wage-ish, but you do get a stipend. You do get paid to do a PhD. PhDs are funded. I know there's a thing called taught PhDs. That's true, Spooky. I have so many YouTube videos, I forget I make them. Sometimes I watch them over myself. I'm like, oh my god, that was so educational. I watch my own YouTube videos before I teach to give me revision of what I know. Yeah, JEE advanced exam. Yeah, I was thinking about doing the JEE exams, and I was thinking about doing some British, the GSCE. Is that the British exam? BS. No, am I getting it wrong? Life after a PhD is fine. Yeah, it's been, what? It's 2026. So I've been a PhD holder for 2.5 years officially. Pretty good. A YouTube and Twitch partner. I'm a Twitch ambassador. I get to stream science and play video games. In return, I get some financial support from my fans that are called lab rats, which I torture in our labs. I have really, really cool lab equipment in the background. I get to lecture full time, get to teach, get to do research. So overall, my life after my PhD is a lot better than what my life during the PhD was. Because to become a professor, you have to, it's a very long time. If you mean professor as in a lecturer at a university, that's already what I am. So in a lot of American institutions, I'm already a professor. But in Ireland, a professorship is a different thing. Professorship is something that you have to apply for after 20 plus years of high level research. You have to like solve world hunger and then you apply for it. It's a different thing here. Next to my username. It's pretty good though. That's a nice logo next to your username. Tofu's a professor in many US universities. Wow. Yeah, the AI thing, I'm not a big fan, Spirit. I think there are smart ways of using AI. There are. And, you know, there are people who use them. They're integrated in lots of ways. But I'm going to be honest, 99% of the people who use AI not using in a way that's good for themselves and others. And I don't think AI has been that great in academia. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's so amazing. We can publish so many papers and do this and that and that and this. But yeah, I'm one of those pessimistic arseholes. I probably will be for a while. I was excited about it initially, like years and years ago when it first came out. I was definitely a bit more excited about it. But my caterpillar kid produced a 33-page study. Oh my, the oh, I thought you said your caterpillar kid. Oh my god, that is so cool, Spooky. It would have been nice to know them. But also, that sounds kind of scary, that because if they succeeded, maybe they stopped Twitch streaming because they're, you know, kidnapped or something. That's one way of looking at it, Mr. Shine, yeah. I may have read it. Oh yes, The Hungry Caterpillar. I can't find many other Irish streamers. Yeah, there are a few who are like good banter and good crack. I'm gonna see if there's anyone live that I know who's Irish. Off the top of my head, I have Cake Jumper, who's Irish. I have run into a few oddballs as well. I don't see anyone live. So Cake Jumper is one that always jumps to mind first. Cake Jumper is really cool. I agree. There's no need for me to explain the Smith chart, Ali, because Veritasium just uploaded a video about 2 days ago on that topic. It's very good. I think it's very informative. Even something like that, producing text, using Gen AI to produce text, I'm It really breaks my heart, to be honest. When you read a book, even a publication, I know this sounds dodgy, but for example, I researched vanadium flow batteries, and I used to read. There's only so many people who are doing research on vanadium flow batteries, so I knew the writing style of this person, this person, this person. There was a style, there was a character to their writing, and yes, I had my own dramas and issues with every little research group. Like, I knew that this paper is going to constantly say this one phrase, which is completely incorrect and inaccurate. Or this one research group, I always hate their tables because they don't have A, B, and C in their tables. I had beef with so many amazing scientists around the world based on their publications. And I fear with AI, we're losing all of that. That if people just start using generative AI to develop their texts, their work, their character of writing, their language writing, just gone out the window. And it's not even great. It really isn't great scientific writing in the end. And then take it more further, the artistic writing style of fiction books, or just books in general that you read for in your enjoyment. Once you use generative AI for that, I don't know. There's definitely something we learn about humanity there. I'm sure there are good uses. We can always come up with good uses for generative AI, but I think it's fair to say that majority of people don't use it for greater good. Did you ever write to the writer? No, never, never. I know of lecturers who would write angry email. Well, not angry. They'd be polite about it, of course, but they would write emails pointing out all the mistakes. I'd be mortified. No. So passive aggressive emails, I guess so, yeah. You look like you want to write a letter, and you should. I don't know how to interpret that. Yeah, although I know that in the last year I've applied to a lot of funding and a lot of kind of applications, and I haven't been using AI. I've been very simple in my applications, to the point, you know, not very flowery at all. And I wonder if maybe I'm not doing that well in these applications because of that. I'm not sure. Yeah, Clippy is the OG. That's actually a very good point, though. We do use AI way too loosely. Everyone is using it as a buzzword right now. So buzzy that it's not even what is. Yeah. It's such a buzzword that not even really used properly anymore. In Western countries, people isolate it as an unstoppable force. Meanwhile, during exam times, they literally just turned off AI websites. Oh, wow! That's incredible. Yeah, a lot of countries take the examination process like that so seriously due to the competitive nature. We don't have that competitive nature here in Ireland. I mean, we do obviously get your highest leaving cert points, get into the course, all of that. But it's nowhere near the standard of difficulty as so many other countries, like in China, Korea, Japan, which other ones? India. There's a few Middle East countries I have in mind as well. They're not at that high level of that standard. Despite Ireland being one of the top highest education systems in the world. Last time I studied, they were in the top 10. And it depends how you interpret what does it mean to have a high education system. Um, okay, according to this list, 10th. Yes, so the reason why Ireland is so high up. Oh, Denmark, Sweden, United Kingdom, Finland was so high for ages. So the reason why those countries are so high versus like the other countries that I mentioned, their exams are so difficult. Why are their education system not high? Usually, the way a lot of these education systems work is that it's by the average literacy and the average education, as in like how many of your citizens are actually educated versus the level of knowledge of the top 1%. Does that make sense? It's all about getting every single kid or as many kids across the line. But past the line, not the level of difficulty doesn't develop much higher. Does that make sense, the point I'm trying to make? Oh, geez, I wouldn't even mention US. The stuff that's going on in the US as well, it's quite startling. Finland seems nice. Yeah, Finland has a great education system. For years, when I was doing my pedagogy degree, we were studying Finland's education system. That was my bread and butter for years. I did a lot of research on them. Where a STEM person showed the clearly AI-assisted applications they got for a position. What does that mean? Lotus. As in they used AI to get a job? Well, look, we're working backwards now. Now with the Gen AI being so available to everyone and anyone can fluff up their resume and write wonderful essays, supposedly. Nowadays, it's going to be back to nepotism. You hire people that you know because you know them. You know that at least they can write, if that's the case. Versus that a job application looks amazing on paper, but yeah. It's the same with the education system. For years and years, we've been fighting for students don't necessarily perform well in the exam. It's not fair to fail Tom every year, even though in the lab he's like the best student ever. But when it comes to exam pressure, he just freezes and poor Tom can't pass. So we, you know, make courses where there's 40% lab assignment or assignment based and all of that, CA based exams to help people like the Toms of the world. And now, because of AI, we have to go back on that. Back to old school exams. Hi, Screwface. Welcome in. Welcome in. Also, was Tom under the weather with something like an infection? Oh well, look, we've chatted a lot about AI. We always do. My stance on it is, look, the cat's out of the bag. AI is where it is. I worry about people's reliance on it. Using it for bits and bobs, I can understand that. Nothing wrong with that. Well, that's a different story. But I see what I'm witnessing is more negative than positive out of it. And that's sad because I'm a scientist. You'd think I would say the opposite, but no, I see more bad stuff than good. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to get some water as well. When I come back, we're going to kick off our resistor network lesson. So we're going to revise very quickly Ohm's law. We're going to... yeah, just do a bunch of resistors in series and parallel. And yeah, just spend all day solving them. Did it work in the end, Mr. Shine? Yeah, like on paper that sounds amazing if the AI could have solved the problem. The other aspect of it is I remember repairing and building stuff from scratch in my lab as well as a student. And I can tell you I learned a lot by mistake. And if kids aren't making mistakes because ChatGPT tells them the right answer, we're going to kirk off the lesson. Kick off, never mind. Ah, thank you, Gavatron. Really, really appreciate it. All right, get up, do some jumping jacks chat. We'll be back in a bit. We're going to do resistors, network problems using our good old brains, our good old whiteboard and markers, and old school textbooks.
Looks like meat back on the
Thank you so much for the 100
boys.
videos. Proportional to the rate of change of current. If we're increasing the frequency, it means that we're increasing the rate of change of current, and we're also then increasing the voltage that is induced. If we keep the rate of change of current, i.e. frequency, constant, it means that if we increase the inductance, we also increase the induced voltage, or the opposite is true. If we decrease the inductance, we decrease the voltage induced. So remember, if there is more current flowing through, that means you have less resistance. If you have less current flowing through, it must mean that you have higher resistance. This is why the reactance is directly proportional to the frequency and the inductance. Here is a little mathematical example of how we would use it. Let's say in our AC circuit, we set the source to 3000 Hertz. The inductor is 10 millihenries. By subbing in our values, 2 times pi times the frequency, which is 3000, times the inductance, which is 10 by 10 to the minus 3, we get an answer of 188.5 ohms. Reactance is the same unit as resistance. This is really important when you get to a little bit more complicated circuits where you have capacitors, resistors, and inductors, and they're all out of phase with each other, and you have to keep track of something called impedance. But that is another video for another time. I hope you found this educational and useful. Happy circuiting. What do you think, Bambi? Did you learn about inductors? This is what happens sometimes. I teach a subject in the most advanced ways, and then I question the most basic physics, and I need to pause in the middle of a video to think thoroughly, and I have to go back to the most fundamental physics to make sure that it's all right in my head. Have you wondered how thermoses keep your coffee hot? Relatively speaking, or how liquid nitrogen dewars are able to keep liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees Celsius. To answer this question, we need to cover the 3 fundamental ways heat transfers. A little bit of quick revision: heat is a form of energy. In a basic introduction to physics, heat is a form of energy that makes the molecules go faster. We define temperature as the measurement of the average kinetic energy of the particles. If you're wondering what's going on in my lap, I have a bunny asking for pets right now. Hi, Bambi. Heat transfers in 3 fundamental ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Let me explain all 3. You want to go? You want to come back up? You want more pets? The first one we're going to cover is conduction. Conduction is basically how heat transfers from one object to the other because it's in contact with it. Say I take these markers. If I start heating up this marker that's in close contact with this marker, which is close contact with this marker, eventually, through conduction, the heat will travel from the blue marker all the way to the green marker. Here is a diagram of basically a copper wire and a little flame here at the end, and I'm heating it up at 100 degrees Celsius while the other end is 20 degrees Celsius. Heat travels from hot to cold, and so over time the heat is going to transfer to the 20 degrees Celsius. The rate at which this heat transfers, i.e. energy per unit time, which is also the unit for power, is directly proportional to the cross-sectional area, i.e. if you slice a wire, it's going to look like a circle in there, pi r squared, and delta T, the temperature difference. Meaning that if you increase the temperature difference between the two, let's say this is 200 degrees Celsius while the other remains at 20, heat will transfer faster. However, heat transfer is inversely proportional to length. The longer the copper wire, the longer it takes for heat to travel. It's proportional to K, which is the conductivity constant.
I hope you're ready. We have a visitor.
Hello? Okay, I was very mean. I actually picked her up when there was no need. I usually only pick her up when she's being naughty, basically. This time I just picked her up for shits and giggles. Yeah. Got all those crumbs. Bunzo. Come here, my baby. Look at that face. Isn't that the cutest face you've ever seen? Yeah. She smells so good. Why do drugs when you can just... Oh, they smell... I think this is what babies smell like. Do you tend to get stressed when submitting a paper for review? No, not stressed, no. Like the deadline and my procrastination up to that point, absolutely. But no, I don't get worried about app. Don't thump me either. She's begging for treats. I already gave you a treat. Okay, you have to work for this one. I'm gonna show chat how good you are. Right? Be very good, aren't you? Don't just thump me. She's just thumping me. Good girl. Couldn't believe it. She just kept thumping me instead. Such attitude on her, I swear. Where does she get this attitude? I don't get it. Don't get it. Like, she's a rescue, you know. You know when you rescue an animal, you think, I'm so grateful to be rescued and to have an amazing life and all of these things. And nah, she's the most like demanding thing in the world. And did you ever use Console? Yes, actually, my final year project, I used it. Yeah. She has trouble processing your prompt. What a cutie. She's a cutie patootie, she is. About second breakfast. Exactly. What we're going to do is, I think we're going to clean the whiteboard. We're going to kick off. A little bit of quick revision. Yeah, start solving problems. One network resistance at a time. Hi, Silver. No tips, sorry. It's been years I've done ComSol and I did pure electromagnetism ComSol. I did nanotech simulations. My spray bottle. This. Call out music? There is. Let me turn up my gain. Bring up the mic so you can hear me a bit better. A bunny boyfriend. We've tried, yeah. So Bambi was attempted to be bonded for years. And I'm still an advocate and I still strongly believe that every bunny has a friend out there. So I haven't completely closed the door of Bambi getting a friend. But what happened was she was given back to the rescue every time. Because she wasn't the priority. You know, they took her in, they tried to bond her with existing rabbits. She was an asshole, so they have to give her back. And so I think the rescue was like, it's not fair that she's not a priority. She, you know, it's heartbreaking. She just can't find a home. She was getting a bit old. So that's where I came in. So I took her in as a solo bunny. But if there needs to be fostering, if there's something that needs to be help, I'll take in a bunny and I'll see if I can bond her with them. Like I will try to find her a friend. Guinea pigs aren't great companions anymore. That was a very old thing, Spooky, with more updated studies. They're actually not good. They're like, I don't know if it's their feces or something like that is a very bad mix. It's unhealthy. Queen of the Hill. Nice clip, Jafer. Yeah, no, when I had bunnies when I was a kid, it was normal to keep them with guinea pigs. Yeah. Normal back in the day. But yeah, with more updated stuff. So even though I love Bambi, and she's the greatest thing in the world, I also don't want to promote too much keeping a bunny solo. They shouldn't be solo. They should have friends. And like I said, I'm not giving up, but Bambi is old. There's an element of, do we put her through stress? Or we let her retire in peace? So those are the options. And again, the rescue that rescued her tried really hard. They're experts at bonding. Actually, I'm going to Riga next week and I'm taking Bambi to a bunny boarding place. Yes, a thing exists. It's like do you know the way a dog kennel exists? But it's for bunnies. And there are other bunnies there, so she'll get to sniff some other bunnies while she's there for a week. It'll be interesting to see. I learned about bunnies that I didn't expect. I hope so too. Fight! Bambi was fighting, yeah. She was very aggressive with other bunnies. It's something about dwarfs. They're such weird bunnies. The smaller and more compact a rabbit, the more awful character and attitude it has. The bigger the bunny, the more docile and lovely they are. The smaller the bunny, the more dense the rage. Kind of like chihuahuas of the bunny world. How are you keeping, Bulbadim? Welcome in. Okay, so, like me, what we're going to do is we're going to cover a quick revision of Ohm's Law and Resistors in Series and Parallel. I do like cats, yeah, I do. Maybe name the next bonded buddy James, James Bond. Just a small bunny in a cage. The yappiness of Jack Russells. I was thinking more like Chihuahuas. But yeah, Jack Russells do yap a lot. That is true. Okay, so yesterday we covered Ohm's Law. V is equal to IR. Dividing, yeah, good. Where V stands for voltage. The unit is volts. I stands for current, where the units is amps. Oh, where we run into problems. And R is resistance, where the unit is a Greek letter, omega, and we call this ohm. So these are the parameters we need to know. And Ohm's law is really, really cool. It basically says, you know, if we have a resistor in a circuit, we're supplying voltage in our system, these three things are true, no matter what. Little asterisks. Resistors can be arseholes when it comes to temperature. As more current flows, heat increases, and the resistance becomes a little bit iffy. But generally speaking, as long as we're not trying to blow up our system, V is equal to IR remains generally true. Yeah, I also spoke with my vet as well, and Yeah, she's worried about Bambi's age, that Bambi's getting old, and it's just kind of sad to put older rabbits through so much stress. The voltage pushes the current through a resistor. I have heard of that figure of speech, yeah. And if you are trying to blow up the system, let's not try and do that, Sushi. Let's not. Could be easily reduced or named different calculated. Sorry, Reiner, I'm not sure I understand. Okie dokie. Yes, we're not going to be doing any explosive stuff. Although the stream must be so interesting. I'm buzzword myself. Now, when we have circuits and systems in place, we could have a voltage source, a resistor, a resistor. Like this, where conventional current loops around this way. When you have resistors one after the other and you want to calculate the total resistance in your system, you can just simply add them. R total is equal to R1 plus R2. However, what if you had the resistors in parallel? Well, if you had your resistors in parallel, like this, what you're basically doing is giving extra paths for current to flow, which means that you're given more options for current to flow. The reason I mention it this way, it means that you're giving more paths for current to flow, meaning that the total resistance reduces. So remember, if I have a 100 ohm resistor and a 100 ohm resistor, and I put them one after the other, one single train track, like this, we get 200 ohms of total resistance. However, when you put them in parallel like this, you're splitting two paths. We have two resistors. The current is flowing, and suddenly it has choice. It can flow this way and this way. So the fact that we've created two paths, two aisles, means that there's more current that can flow through it. You're actually reducing the total resistance. In the case when you have 100 ohm resistor and 100 ohm resistor in parallel, you get a total resistance of 50 ohms. The formula is 1 over RT is equal to the inverse sum of all the resistors. Like that. Okay? That's basically revision of everything we did yesterday. We spent about 3 hours on this topic. We did cover it a bit more thoroughly. If you guys want to watch the VOD background, absolutely do so. But this is a revision of everything we studied yesterday on stream. Hi, Dr. Hubs, 40 stream streak, let's go. Which I think is gold, is, yes, it's the 5% and silver is the 10%. You're right, Etria 6. Sorry if I didn't get it right. The graph theoric approach, sorry. Duality is the background, which dive up if you explain it in that way. Why don't we use a 50 ohm resistor simply instead of two 100 ohm resistors in parallel? Great question. I have a bunch of resistors. There's 10 ohm, 33 ohm, 47 ohm, 100 ohm. I don't have a 50 ohm resistor. 50 ohm resistors don't exist by themselves. So this is how you can make custom resistors, by placing certain resistors in parallel. Sometimes we're just limited with what we have. And that this is a great way of ensuring that you can make a very, very specific system that you require. Oh, there we go, Sushi. That answers your question there as well. Hi, Vespanana. Welcome in. Welcome in. Although the parallel symbol is fine to use, and I will use it for certain things, in this case, I am showing the base algebra, so I'm not to show the parallel symbol. Base. Okay. After all of that, what we're going to do now, chat, is I'm actually going to do our first basic combination circuit. So we covered resistors in series. We covered resistors in parallel. But it turns out, most of the time, resistors are actually not that simple. They don't just exist in series and in parallel. Instead, they exist in a bunch of different formats. That still only counts as one.
That still only counts as
Okay,
one.
so this is a nice little problem. I'll make the lighting a little bit better. Here we go. So we'll say the voltage is 6 volts. This resistor value is 470, 330, and 100. And let's say I give you 2 problems, chat. Problem number 1. Calculate total resistance with switch off. And part 2, calculate total resistance with switch on. There we go. There's the question. If any of you are very experienced with this, you might as well fly ahead. Feel free. But we're going to solve this together. So the switch is going to be an interesting thing. You do give us problems, do I, Ves Banana? If we have the options, so can we use them directly, or will we need combination to current more effectively? Yeah, I guess you need combinations, specific combinations in your case. Yes. Thanks for the follows, by the way. You guys are more than welcome here. So I'm just going to quickly clean the other side of the board. Get more space. Okay. Hi, Nuri. Welcome in. So sorry. I use a spray to clean my board, so we just need to wait a second to let it dry. Let me pick up the camera a little bit more so you guys can see clearly. I don't want the chat box too much in the way as well. When the switch is off, you just use the 300 ohm part, and then it is on. You have to calculate the resistance for the sub-circuit. So when the switch is off, yes, that's correct, Mata. And when it's on, you have to calculate the resistance for the sub-circuit. When the switch is on, you have to calculate the resistance using all of these guys. Yes. So part 1 says calculate the total resistance with the switch off. So at the moment, the switch is off. Exactly. So let's look at this train track. I have a pink marker. Here we go. We're going to go choo choo, do 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 do. One resistor. We keep going. Do 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 do. The path splits. Or does it? If you look very carefully here, the path splits in this direction, sure, and it rejoins. But does it split here? Because there's an open circuit, it means there is no potential there. Electrons don't want to go there at all. There is no potential difference. It's not a closed circuit. There's nothing there to say, hello electrons, come over here. Because it's an open circuit, all the flow of current has to go here. And it's just basically two resistors in series. This is why I like solving these problems once you really get to know what electrons do and what they like. Because electrons are trying to get to the opposite terminal, I know this is conventional current versus electron flow, just bear with me. Because there is an open gap, there's an open wire, there's nothing on the other side going, hello, come over here. So the electrons are just kind of like, I don't want to go there. There's nothing there that's attractive to me. So they're going to all flow in this direction instead. If you keep seeing a little shadow here, that's just because there is someone in the yard. Do not worry, I'm not getting robbed. It's just Nathan working in the yard. Do not be alarmed. Okay. With that piece of information, if I've learned anything from the circuit board, it's that resistors are futile. Resistance is futile. We shall all be assimilated. We might just as well as accept it. Okay, so let's go about solving that then. Our total resistance is just resistor 1 plus resistor 2. 470? 30? Our total resistance then is 800 ohms. So our voltage that we're supplying, it could be VT, or another symbol that sometimes people use is VS. S stands for source. We can actually calculate what the total current in our circuit is under that condition. Six volts divided by 800 ohms. You can put that into your calculators. I think I have a calculator here somewhere, but I can't see it. Also, my music stopped. No, it didn't. You can still hear a bit of fallout, hopefully. A little buzz of fallout in the background. If Nate is in the yard, I hope that was Bambi. We're going to avoid terms like infinity and stuff like that. I think Frank, it's a bit much for now. We're just kind of going with the different ideas for now. I'm going to try and avoid terms like infinity anyway. Hi Lion King, welcome in, welcome in. There's a few people who are just never exposed to it, other people who would like a little bit of revision. But yeah, you know, to each their own. I think for many of us, it's you know, we study in the school and we don't tend to use it as much. I'm here for the ambiance. We set an interesting ambiance now. Where's my calculator? Alright, I'll just use my phone. I also got an official email from NASA. Oh, thank you, Zier. To say that I didn't get the Roman telescope application, which is nice that they sent a proper email though. So I will not be going to Boca Chica, Texas or Florida to watch a NASA launch. I say Boca Chica, Texas because I would have loved to go to maybe a SpaceX launch around that time as well. But no honeymoon from me. No honeymoon from me. Oh, I think my marker's going. Let me grab a new one. Oh yeah, it's a very good marker. Bit thin. Wait, this isn't a meditation stream? I mean, we are chanting Om. That is true. That is true. Okay. So we get the total current to be 7.5 milliamps. Now, what would really be nice to see is, well, what happens now when we turn on the switch? Okay, so now let's change the sky to this. What happens now? Okay, let's find out. do we go about solving this? Well, we know that the first resistor is in series, but the next two are in parallel. So let's just solve this part, the parallel part. Let's make our life easier. Let's do the parallel first. So the parallel, that's just a symbol for parallel, is...
No, thank you. We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about very old friends? Gertrude, thank you so much for the 27 months. I am the best Cora. We definitely need to tell Cora that I'm the best Cora. Welcome in, and thank you so much for the 27 months support. That is very kind of you. I hope you're keeping well. It does work for 3 resistors as well, but this is a very interesting formula I showed you. So this is a bit different to the formula I showed you before, chat. Why is this different? This saves me from having this in inverse. In my experience, when I see students do this formula, they do the sum, they do the summation, and they do the calculation, and they forget to flip it. It is a very, very common mistake that I witness amongst young students. And so it pains my heart. So what I say is, if you can, use this formula instead when you have 2 resistors. It's a bit handier, a bit nicer, and you won't forget to invert it. How far open it is. Basically, yeah, basically, Gertrude, that's a fair point. Okay, so let's sub in our numbers. The value of this resistor was 330 ohms. Multiplied by 100, all divided by 330 plus 100. So the parallel part of the resistors, shove it into your calculators. Is 76.74 ohms. Okay, chat, I'm actually going to say something. I'm going to teach you some good habits here. How do I know I'm roughly right? By looking at that number by itself. Lol, I just forgot to raise it to the power of my... Did you? I was literally just saying. I try to teach good exam habits to my kids, usually. Thank you, Zero. Well done. Exactly, Sarna. I'm so glad to see that. So, the resistor value always has to be smaller than the smallest value of your resistor. So our smallest value is 100 ohms. I know the resistor has to be smaller than 100. So I know roughly that my answer is right. It's just a good way of just keeping track of, oh, I hope I didn't mess up too much, you know? It's really good practice. And I know it's kind of exam practice, but obviously I teach students in academia, so obviously I'm teaching them to pass the exam. But it's kind of important to point that out, that I'm a person that I hate checking my work. Do you know the way the teacher said, when you're finished your exam, go over all your questions? I hated doing that. But what would I do as I'm solving is just keep track of making sure that your answers seem logical. Exactly. The book I used to call this sanity checks. Exactly. That's exactly what my teacher used to call it as well. A sanity check. Then what we basically have done is we've redesigned the circuit as 2 resistors in series. We solved this parallel section and we said it's basically the equivalent of 1 resistor worth 76 ohms, while the other resistor is 470, is it? Yeah, it is. So we just add them together. So 470 plus 77 pretty much Should be able to do this in my head, don't judge me. The heat is getting to me. Our resistance is roughly 546.74. See, my brain is not going well already. Now that we know what the total resistance is, we can calculate the total current. It was 7.5 milliamps. Let's just remember that for part A. I'll just write it down here. So, V total is equal to I total times R total. We know the V total, it hasn't changed. We know R total, we just calculated. That's 6 volts divided by 546.74. Into your calculator, 6 divided by 546.74. Does anyone have an answer for it? Yeah, there's a min-max description there. That's right, Frank. Thank you so much, Zir. 10.97 milliamps. Interesting. Have a look at this real quick. So when the switch is open, we have 7.5 milliamps in the system, but when the switch is closed, you have 10 or almost 11 milliamps. That's a useful thing, isn't it? Obviously, if you can have a switch open, you can just and close, you can just have on or off. Not only that, but now we can have a switch where we just even change the current in our system. That might be useful. Maybe, maybe not. How does your formula change if there's a third resistor added to the parallel block, assuming it's on? Like if we add another third resistor here, then you would use this formula. 1 over R parallel equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. You just add another resistor parameter to it. Hi Tofu, I don't understand how the resistance can be less than the resistor with the least resistance. Less than, like, how do I know that? That's got to do with algebra. It's an algebraic trick from this formula, from this expression. Do you understand how 1 over R total, the parallel, is the same thing as saying this? Do you understand this part? What I might try to get you to do, if it's okay with you, is actually challenge yourself. Change this algebraic expression. Do you think you can do that? Try and challenge that for yourself first. If you can understand that, let me see, is there another explanation other than mathematical? I wonder if there's a nicer explanation. I suppose it's just the idea of why you do resistors in parallel. So let's say so we have a 330 ohm resistor and we have a 100 ohm resistor, right? And there's stuff you could do. You could put in a 100 ohm resistor in there, you could put a 330 ohm resistor, and resistance, the higher the resistance, the less current will flow. If you grab those two resistors and put them in parallel, what you're really doing is you're giving more options for current to flow. You still have the same amount of current that could have flowed through the 100 ohm resistor, but now you have a little bit extra flow to go through the second pipe. So let's say it was 10 amps would have flowed through the 100 ohm resistor, but now we've added a 300 ohm resistor on the other side. A little bit of current will go there, but still some current will go there. And so because of that, the total resistance has to decrease because we have a little bit of extra current flowing in the end. I don't know if I've explained that very well. Let me know. If that was a good explanation. Hi, Manhattan. To find the fault. No, Norton-Thevenin and superposition are circuit analysis theories. I don't tend to use them for analyzing PCB faults. Although, it depends. So let's say you have a load and you know what your load is meant to experience. It's meant to be a voltage of this and it's meant to be a resistance of that. Thevenin's theorem, basically. And you do the calculation and you say, okay, this load is meant to experience 5 volts and the resistance is meant to be 500 ohms. And then you grab a voltmeter and you actually measure it and it's not that. Then there's something wrong with your circuit. So in that sense, it's helpful. Okay, perfect, Rockfast. Sorry, it wasn't the best explanation. I'm trying to put into words what I visualize. It can be quite tough, though. On that part, I'm not certain I got everything. That's okay. I'm going to try and explain that again, because that was a great question. It was a very good question. And this is something that you kind of have to learn to get the feel for over time. I'm going to use a pipe analogy again. So, let's say we have water. Tank full of water. And sorry, takes a while for this stuff to dry. And we're looking at it top down, and the pipe has obviously resistance because it's a certain amount of pipe. But then we place a same size pipe here and a skinnier pipe So this is basically a 330 ohm resistor, and this is a 100 ohm resistor. And then, oh my god, what am I doing? They join back together again. End. So my question is if we didn't have this 330 ohm resistor here instead, let's say we just had our normal pipe and we had that 100 ohm. Same guy. Pretend these two guys are the same. In this case, what we actually did, even though we added a higher resistor into this circuit, technically high resistor, less current, what we actually did was just added an extra path for more water to flow. So even though this is the circuit originally we have, 100 ohm resistor, we then added a 330 ohm resistor in parallel. We gave current, water flow, another option. You can see that logically, well, it's just the same 100 ohm resistor here, and we have an extra little bit path for more current to flow. That means that this guy has to have less resistance than this guy. Surely more water is flowing in this system than in this system. Does that make sense a little bit? So we have an option of just putting 100 ohm resistor like this, one after the other, or we could put a 100 ohm resistor and a 300 ohm resistor here like this. where basically give current an extra path to flow, despite the fact that that 330 ohm resistor is higher. That's why the total resistance of this guy has to be always less than just that one guy by itself. You're just giving extra paths. Yes, it's shit path. Yes, it's much less resistance, or sorry, much more resistance, much less current. You're still giving it an extra path to take. I don't know if it makes any help there. If I made it worse for you, I apologize. I'm trying to come up with some stories and some ideas here to help out. Because we all think in different ways, bear in mind. And it's quite hard to sometimes explain something to you, how my brain works, and your brain could be functioning completely differently. We're all very unique human beings. Oh. Need my spray bottle for this. Dry for a second. I'll take a few minutes to sit down. It's still very, very hot in here. Whew. And we'll continue with a few combination stuff. I'll try and design some fun circuits for you all to solve. Ugh, fun might be a strong word, but I am unique just like everybody else. Exactly. Exactly. Had to calculate the current and potential difference from all the resistors independently. You use the Ohm's law individually for each guy. So if you want to calculate the current,
only counts as one.
You need to know the voltage across them. So you have a 3-point equation. You have voltage, current, resistance. You need to know two to know the other. Unless we get into simultaneous equations, but there's no need for that. Yeah, labs are very, very good. So usually when I teach this, I actually build the circuits and stuff. So I've decided to do a bit more theory focused today, which is unusual for me. I usually do teach with more application. But for the sake of science today, we are just doing pure theoretical analysis. Maybe next week we'll build some circuits on this. Yeah, we will. I was thinking about like, what did I want if we could do logic gates, but I did logic gates last week. I want to record a YouTube logic gates this week. Good water. Good water. Have to stay hydrated. Oof. It's hot. I don't think it's actually that hot. I think I was just up and running. Let me see. How bad is it? Yeah, it's only like 23, 24 today. That's not bad at all. Oh, there might be rain at the end of the week on Saturday. There might be 20% chance of precipitation at some point. I know it's far away, but oh my god, let's go. I would love for a little bit of rain. What about an electromagnetic circuit next week? I hate electromagnetic. Wait, what do you mean? Do you mean like a pure magnetic circuit, or do you mean like just a conductors and conductors and capacitors? Sorry, capacitors, inductors and capacitors. Hi, Father Dougal. I know, rain in Ireland. We have hose warning. Father Dougal, I don't know if you have one as well. We have a backyard hose warning here. We have a water fucking shortage in Ireland, lads. Do you mean BJTs, Haluska? I wonder if I have a YouTube video already on that. I might not have a YouTube video on MOSFETs. Yeah, maybe we'll do a field effect sometime, yeah. Nerduino has been playing with antennas, gets confusing. Oh, Nerduino's very, very good. There's only one stream I catch. I think it's midweek. He does a stream early in the morning for him. I can catch that sometimes. But unfortunately, he streams it. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Arduino doing a partner push? It'd be great to be able to if you guys know of anyone in our community or friends that's trying to do partner push, let me know. We'll try and actively raid them. Give them as much chance as we can. Antennas are black magic. They're really, really cool. Yeah, it'd be very cool to build one. MOSFETs are powerful. Yeah, I don't actually teach MOSFETs outside of pure physics. I don't really work with that. Oh no, that's not true. I do build like logic gates out of them. Hi Lomas, welcome in. Oh, the Lord of the Rings. I'm glad. I hope you guys enjoy Gimli. Medji did such a wonderful job with Gimli. A dipole antenna is really easy and fun to build. Yeah, I would love to go back to doing some more projects on stream. I haven't done a project on stream for almost... Well, that's not true. We've repaired Bob. But even then, Bob is just a repair job. Sorry, my bottle's in. There's Bob. He's a prototype. We do need to make him a case. Oh. Why do I have no motivation for robotics right now? Sometimes I get really... It's like a city builder game. It's like, I don't want to start a new city builder and learn new things. Once you start, fucking addictive as heck. Thank you, Turtle. Welcome in, welcome in. Hope you're keeping well. The Veritasium video on the Smiths chart is very good. Oh, you didn't understand it. It was okay for me. I thought it was a very good video, but that's because I know a lot of this. I don't work with the Smith chart. I don't need to. It goes just above what I teach, but all the basics right before it, I know it. So that's why I thought the Smith chart was great for me. But I literally teach a whole 12-week course on all the prerequisites for the Smith chart. So yeah, I can understand why maybe if you've no knowledge of that kind of thing, it can be very overwhelming. Out of pure sciences, which one do you think is the most useful on its own? Chemistry, physics, biology? Physics, because a lot of chemistry and biology are just models of physics. Everything is just physics. Everyone and everything is just physics. Of course, I have to be pretentious and snobby to say it, but if you study a little bit more history and lore behind scientists, they were all just physicists originally. Then they branched off to develop very specific models and ideas that make it work in their own little niche. But it all came back from physics. It's all physics. Yeah, the infinity and zero are very good points on Smiths, yeah. Yes. Kind of with AC circuits, Turtle. The water analogy with electricity is great with DC. As soon as you go to AC, it kind of doesn't make sense anymore. Everything revolves around fitness. Enjoy your cycling. 23 degrees is awful, Frank, but take care of yourself. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us today. Cooking is just physics. It's just thermodynamics. Okay, chat, I taught you conduction, convection, and radiation. We know the three forms of it. Why, when you cook cookies, let's say the recipe says 200 degrees for 10 minutes. Why can't I just put them in for 400 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes? What happens to the damn cookies? What happens to the cookies? The center is not going to be cooked at all, and the outside is going to be completely burned. Absolutely completely burned. That is just classical thermodynamics. Concept of conduction in this case. Why is it that when you have to cook the chicken, like why is it that we have these strict recipes for the chicken and to make sure that the center of the chicken is cooked? Lots of great physics. What if you shape it like a radiator? Hi, Teddy Jones. Welcome in, welcome in. I don't know if I said hello to you, Grim. You're just kind of there. Cookies are resistors. I don't know about biology being different to physics. I think there's a lot of similarities. The science that's done in biology is quite fascinating. It's very different to classical chemistry and physics in terms of the scientific method. It is slightly altered. And again, you can't just say biology is different. There's a lot of branches in biology and they all do a little bit different things. So again, you can't really... but if you look into it, it all comes back to physics. I'll find a way. Chat, don't you fucking worry. I'll find a way to make everything back to physics. I will make it. It'll happen. Store it at all the heat until you bite into them and release the heat of 1,000 suns. Hi, cynical sorceress. Never worry when tofu's on the case. It's how the space shuttle tiles work. They were thermal resistors. The space shuttle tiles. In biology, they are testing the regrowth in teeth with human trials, and it worked in ferrets, so we don't need dentures. Oh, that'd be awesome, Frito. Oh my god. That would be so awesome if I don't need dentures. I have to go to the dentist next week. Is it next week? When's my appointment? Oh, it's actually ages away. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Not until like a month away. All good, all good. Hi, Lumpy Earthling, welcome in. Brian Cox argues as always, like, I haven't heard too many of it. I haven't really been watching a lot of Brian Cox recently. My beloved science communicator for the last 5 years, I would say, yeah, has been Jim Al-Khalili. I think, I'm such a big fan of his. I think he's an amazing science communicator. His documentaries are so good, and it is my dream to meet him one day. I do get invited to some events. There might be a world where I maybe will be honored by the presence of Jim Al-Khalili. But, yeah. I would love to meet him. It's such a dream of mine. I think he might be the reason I got my spark into loving the history of physics. Like, knowing why theories developed the way they did. And it's really, really sad. If any of you have studied physics, you might have experienced this. Have you experienced that when you study modern physics, quantum theory and so on and so forth, you feel like you actually studied the historical development of it? You studied J.J. Thomson's plum pudding model, then you went into Rutherford, then Bohr, then you went on further with Heisenberg and Pauli, and you did a lovely history of atomic theory and quantum mechanics and how it developed. Sadly, we don't actually do that with other fields. We don't do that with electromag, mechanics, optics, not generally anyway. And so the sadness I have with that is that there is actually so much rich history, drama, gore, like quite literally horrible history in classical physics. And that little element of it is lost a bit. Yeah. Anyway, he inspired me. Jamal Khalidi has really inspired me that when I teach this kind of science, I will make sure to try to bring that passion to students as well. Thank you, Zir. Appreciate it. Which branch of physics do you specialize in? I guess if I had to choose the physics branch, it is thermodynamics, really what I study. But I'm very interdisciplinary. You could say that I do electrical engineering and electrochemistry as well. Yeah, so those are my kind of fields. Yeah, that's very true, JP. Yeah, the limitations are very important in that case. Yeah, Haluska, that's what I tried to do. I tried to add some stuff on my YouTube because, you know, if like what I teach is general physics mostly, and I teach about, I don't know, alpha, beta, gamma radiation. I can upload a video on alpha, beta, gamma radiation, but there's hundreds of videos on it. What I tried to do is I tried to make a historic, unique context to it. So in the case of radiation, I did a video on the radium girls, and I used the educational background on all the forms of radiation to teach what actually happened at a cellular level to the radium girls. So I try to be a little bit original in my teaching, usually with some historic context. I've also been very, very tempted for the longest time to do a drama video, a meme version of Newton versus, what's his name, Hook drama. There was a lot of drama between them. It would be fun to do it. If they had Twitter, what would they say? That would be a fun series. No, I don't teach that. No, I don't teach nuclear physics beyond introduction level on stable DS. By the way, thank you so much for all the follows. Appreciate it. All new lab rats are welcome. When you follow or support this channel, I would like to highlight that you signed a contract that I can use you in experiments in science and in research. So yeah, I hope you have a high survival rate. Oh, sorry, Turtle. Did you not see that contract earlier? Too bad! Is information theory what I think it is? Let me double check before I spout it. Yes, it is what I think it is. But no, I don't. I'm not really interested in it. I ever so slightly was involved in a bit of information entropy, but other than that, that's it. That's all I am. And again, it wasn't even that deep. The star's crowded core is still possible black hole. Hi, Mark Zero. I'm not sure what you're on about. Apologies. Yeah, Newton did have beef with everyone. That is true. A little information theory goes a long way. Oh, I wish you luck with that, Ortiz. Yeah. Yeah, usually particle physics and nuclear physics, all that cool stuff is what gets kids into physics. But I hope to be an advocate to show, even in classical mechanics, classical physics, a lot of cool stuff. How do you learn all those concepts? Books? YouTubes? Yeah. Books are amazing. Like, textbooks are great. I know there are shit textbooks, but anything modern is relatively good because of the competitive nature of modern books. Back 50, 60 years ago, it was not that competitive to write a textbook for a university. But nowadays, it's so competitive and everyone is such a good teacher that any top-rated book these days would probably be a very good book on those topics. Any modern editions of things. Yeah. I'd recommend textbooks. They're so great. I love authors who literally obviously be careful of those ones like, I won't show you this derivation because it's very obvious. Otherwise, you're a dummy. Kind of thing. I think you don't really run into that in physics that much, but I hear that's a popular enough meme in maths textbooks. The derivation is so simple. Like, you solve all the problems. You don't even need to solve the problems. The textbook itself actually describes what tells you. Which books do you recommend? It depends on what topic you're trying to learn. For classical, general physics, they're all the same, honestly. They're all good. I have, like, Giancoli is the one I use. I have no love for Giancoli. As in, like, I don't think it's the greatest book in the world. It's fine. I have, like, 5 other first-year books. They're all fine. Electrical concepts, I would recommend Floyd. I've said it loads of times. I really think he's great. And he does circuit analysis, logic gates, or logic theory, and electronic devices. Sorry. Data information, electronic devices, electrical circuit analysis. He has 3 main textbooks, all fantastic. He explains things really well. It can be shown. There we go. It would be interesting to have a command with the basic book recommendations. Yeah, probably a good idea. Like, just to list all the books that I reference. What's the author name? I missed it. Floyd. I'll type it for you just in case. Like this. Art of Electronics. I've heard of that. I've heard of Art of Electronics. Never read it, so I can't spout. Like for quantum mechanics. Oh, I do not know of a good quantum mechanics book. I referenced 2 of them and they're both shit. I can tell you what are shit ones. For me, quantum mechanics was really bad because notations change very, very easily, depending on. Yeah, I don't have a good one. Can't think of. I have a modern physics book that's not bad. It does a little bit of quantum, but it depends on what level. It depends again. You said 3rd year physics student. It could be the same level. I'm not sure. Little Miss, thank you so much for the dono. But this is a small part. Ah, thank you. You're too kind, though. You really, really don't need to. You're very... Too kind. Too kind. You guys never need to donate anything. Is it this one? Let me check for you. I guess so, but that's not the one I have. So that's electronic devices conventional current version. I have electron flow current version. So I didn't know that there was a opposite version book. But I have the electron version of that. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. Little Miss, again, thank you so much for the kind donation. Principles of electronic circuits. Electron flow. No! For principles of electric circuits, I use conventional current. You guys are listing the opposite. But yeah, those are the books. But they're the opposite. So when I teach electronic devices, I always teach thinking about electron flow. Because if you're trying to fundamentally understand at a physics level what's happening to the electrons or the devices, you need electron theory. In circuit analysis theory, I just use conventional flow because you don't need that. I was on the electron flow side of the fence. I'm 50-50 Scorpion. Whatever you choose, I don't care which one you choose, lab rats. electron flow or conventional current flow. But whatever one you choose, please, for the love of fecking God, stick to it. The worst thing I see is when students mix them all up together. It's when they work with a transistor and then normal resistors and they switch the current flow. That's disaster. Whatever one you choose, whatever one it is, grab it, stick to it. Don't switch. Do not switch. And lo and behold, it doesn't matter which direction you take. It will all still work out. It all still works. Right, we're going to go for a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to continue with a few more problems because we just did one combination circuit. Actually, do you know what I might do? I might actually draw a circuit and walk away. And for those of you who like a little bit of a challenge, maybe you'd be interested in solving this. Yeah, homework. I'm giving you homework. Or classwork, really. Okay. Let's come up with a circuit. Okay, so let's say I have a voltage. There we go. This is the monstrosity I've invented for you. Let me move the camera a bit. In a bit. So we say this is 5 volts. Not going to give you the voltage. So, question 1. What is the total resistance? And question 2, what is the voltage source?
That still only counts as one.
There we go. I've made up a question on the board. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. I just got here and I've been given homework. OMG, it's bees. Welcome in, welcome in. Here you go. You're going to sit down and you're going to do homework immediately. So I'm going to go P. Do you mean how large is the voltage source? Just what is the voltage source? What is the voltage source in this case? I don't want to do homework. Is that what I should call it, Haluska, to my students? Physics maxing. Instead of giving homework to my kids, should I just call it physics maxing? Do you think they'll do it then? I'm going to run some ads. I'm going to go pee. When we come back, I will solve it. But for those of you who want to challenge yourselves, just a bit of get that brain working. Try and do a head start. BRB. That's make. I think we should have a counter for how many
And they call it a
Resistance
mine.
is Futile jokes we do.
A mine!
Speaking of, Layla, thank you so much for the tier 3 resub. All your bases belong to us. How are you keeping, Layla? Welcome in, welcome in. So loads of people are getting the voltage to be 10.87. All right. Look, the beauty of this is that we try and solve it together, work it out. What's really important is to always try yourself first, instead of just waiting for the end. So I actually ordered this in a nice order. I ordered this in a way to, obviously this is the final kind of question in the exam, but this is a setup. Setup sounds bad. This is a thing to help you, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to solve this. Let's go. So we have, okay, let's look at the circuit first, actually. Let's follow a train track. Grab your finger and let's follow the train track. Choo choo. Meet one resistor. Then we meet two resistors in parallel. Then here, split a track again. These two guys are in parallel once more. How do I know they're in parallel? Grab your fingers. Pat splits. These guys are clearly in parallel. Anything that I meet across is going to be in parallel. They meet again. That means that now this section of parallel is done. These two guys are in parallel. Thanks a million for the follows as well. Really, really appreciate it. And again, Layla, thank you so much for 18 months. And almost a full year of tier 3 as well. That's 6 PP points. Very, very kind. Those PP points mean a lot. I'm always tempted to try and do a partner plus push thing for 3 months over the summer, but I don't know. I always feel bad. I've gotten over, you know, asking for donos for charities. I feel, yeah, sometimes I really struggle with the idea of kind of thing. What I am hearing is that I'm the first person to make the one and only Layla.
That still only counts as one!
Are you taking summer off from teaching classes? No, so I'm a lecturer, so it's just there's no classes over the summer. I know there are summer courses, but I'm not on any of them. I only teach the academic semesters. So I get 2 months off, technically. You're not actually off, obviously, for them. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm able to stream an extra bit over the summer. All right. So we have one resistor in series, one set in parallel, the second set in parallel. So let's just make our life easier. Let's pretend we have a parallel resistor here, an equivalent resistor. We'll call it P1. And we'll call this guy P2. What we're trying to do is we're trying to replace those resistors in parallel with their equivalent fake resistors as if they were in series. What does it look like the current is doing? We use the URL. No, Rolf. Despicable. Despicable. Okay, so let's solve the resistor and parallel 1 section. That's a 470 ohm
Call it a
resistor.
mine. A
330
mine!
divided by 470 plus 330. So into your calculators, let's see what that set is equal to. Daniel, thank you so much for the tier 2. Thank you so much for your double PP points. You're very, very kind. I can't believe it's almost 2 years. I cannot believe how long some of you here have been putting up with me. You poor Crathers. Honestly, you poor Crathers. No one should have to put up with me for so long. That's the urine. Wouldn't you like to know, Grim? Wouldn't you like to know? 193. Excellent. 193.9. And like we called it earlier, the sanity check. How do I know that this answer seems reasonable? Oof, Daniel, you poor Crather. We're very lucky to have your presence here. It must be less, exactly. So it's less than the 330 ohm resistor. I know roughly that this isn't that bad. Where does this formula come from? The formula for inverse resistance is 1 over R2 plus 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 when you have it in parallel, right? Well, let's clean this up. Common denominator, R1 plus R2. That's their common denominator. In this case, is R2 multiplied by R1 all over R in parallel. Let's flip this. Flip this guy upside down and this guy upside down. Wait, sorry, I did that wrong. Nope. We flip it. That becomes R parallel. Oh shit, my marker's going, sorry. It's the same resistance formula from earlier, except with a little bit of algebra. A little bit of extra steps. Oh, we had a hype train. I didn't realize we had so many donos. Where does the D2 go to the R2? Give 22 bits, Grim, and I'll tell you. Is it 22? I'm trying to remember that. Woo! There we go. Anyways, choo-choo, all aboard the scam train. Oh, I would love a blackboard, Chippy. Yeah, it would be nice to get a blackboard. I've looked at some online. They are quite expensive. Talk is just nice, exactly. Thank you so much for the bits as well. I used to teach my first few lessons when I was an undergrad. No, an underdoc? Postgrad. When I was a postgrad doing my PhD, I had to tutor. You have to do... It's kind of like you're a lecturer's, a professor's assistant. You do their like tutorials in the labs for them. So that was one of the things I used to do. I used to teach thermodynamics in a really, really old corner, all on a blackboard. It was so nice. I loved it. Thank you so much for the 100 bits, Rockefeller. I really appreciate it. Underdoc. That's a very different... Yeah, I was trying to think of the word, but listen. We don't judge. I mean, we do, but we're not going to judge me too harshly. Anyways. Oh shit, I took everything down. God damn it. What was the answer again? Does anyone remind me? It was 160 something? Anyone remind me, sorry. 193 even. Now R parallel to that resistor is 220 and 100. Hey Kip, how are you keeping? Welcome in. Now I get the answer to be 68.8 ohms. Now I know I'm roughly right, it's less than 100. So we know we're roughly in the right dimension. So the last part is we basically have 3 resistors in series. 1, 2, and 3. Those 2 pink ones. So now, rounded up to 69. Nice. Do you all like a real board is better than a digital, or even if you're presenting it? I always have everything in apps programs. So I used to do everything on a whiteboard online. Yeah, I used to have a Wacom. I actually still have it. I just lost the pen to it. But yeah, I used to do it all digital. I think there was benefits to it. There was more space. It was a lot more clear. I don't know. Does chat think it would be better to teach on a online whiteboard?
Still only counts as one.
Or does a physical whiteboard feel nicer? I feel like a physical whiteboard
That still only counts as one.
aesthetically is nicer than the online stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't quote me too much on it. All right. So resistor 1 plus resistor parallel
Looks like meat's
plus
back on the
resistor
menu,
parallel
boys.
2. Let's add all those resistors together. The first resistor was 100 ohms. Stop giving me money, chat. You're all trying to distract me from teaching so I don't give you homework. You think I didn't used to do that when I was a student? Try to distract the teacher so we'd do less work? Alright, thank you so much for 114 so you could unlock the 5k bits badge. I don't know if you've played World of Warcraft. But that's Diablo. It's 68.75, not 68.8. Round that up. The next figure is Andrea. It's 68.8 in that case. Because we're keeping to 1 decimal place. We're just trying to keep the consistency. Oh, you came back to WoW. Okay. So the first one was 100. Second one is 193.9. The next one is 68.8. Let's add them all up together. 100 plus 103.9. Ooh. 193.9 plus 68.8. And we have 362.7 ohms. So that's the total resistance of our circuit. Look at so the total story, our total voltage supplied is equal to the total current times the total resistance. We calculated this. Our total current, I told you, is 30 milliamps. You can sub in all those numbers. And we can get our answer this way. So VT is equal to 30 milliamps. 30 by 10 to the minus 3. Remember, it's in amps. And our resistance is 362.7 ohms. So our total voltage is, we'll grab our calculators, boom, ba boom. Go, multiply by 362.7. We get 10.881 ohms. We'll round it up. 10.9 volts, not ohms. 10.9. And that's how you solve our little problem here. You can have a lot of fun with this. Where I could have told you what the voltage was, and I could have told you what the current was, or I could have told you what the voltage drop only across one of those resistors was. Or I could have told you I could have not told you what one of those resistors were and asked you to solve for those resistors. There's all these really amazing things that you can do to solve them. But as you mentioned with the whiteboard issue, we would run out of space very, very quickly to solve those kind of resistor networks. Let's take a quick break here. Sit down. Get ready for our Netflix interview. But you still got it right. Let's go, goblins. I'm so glad to hear that. Yes, that's Mick. Every time I move the camera, we always use Kiri's emote for that. Wait, what now? Sorry, what did I say? I forgot what I said. I forget what I eat for breakfast, let alone what I just said. Oh, Netflix interview. Yes, that's the joke. There's a meme at the moment on TikTok where people, because Netflix documentaries are going crazy recently, there's a Netflix documentary for everything now. And so people will sit down and be like, oh, me preparing for my Netflix documentary about how I was able to eat 20 peanuts in one day. I don't know, I'm just making up stuff. But anyways, because there's a Netflix documentary for everything now, there's this running. So yeah. Which, by the way, I am watching a Netflix documentary at the moment. Watching Fred and Rose West. Horrid documentary. As in, like, it's a good documentary, just like the events that occurred are very horrible. You should get a Netflix documentary. I have nothing interesting to say. 20 peanuts. Yes. Oh, are they? Yeah, so I unsubscribe and resubscribe to Netflix all the time. What I try to do now is so at the moment I'm on Netflix. I don't have any subscription on at the same time, or multiple at the same time. Between Disney, Paramount, Netflix, what I try to do is I subscribe for a month or 2 or 3, and I go through all the shows that I want. Once I'm done, I unsubscribe and I subscribe to the next one. It is a bit of a pain in the ass, I know. Like, you can't be subscribed. It's just, like, they're asking like €15 each. And so let's say you want, you know, a nice TV series from this website, a couple of movies for weekends on this website. You're talking about €50 at least a month. And like, I'm currently always subscribed to Prime because I need it for Twitch. I have to have Prime always subscribed to Twitch. Yeah, it's too expensive to maintain a consistent one. I agree. Hey, Swallowed, welcome in. Welcome in, Scorpion. There is no way you have ADHD. Well, no, I don't have ADHD, but I think it's on a, what's the word? In the perfect world, I subscribe and unsubscribe in a timely manner. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Life finds a way. You've Amazon Prime for food delivery? What? Prime has food delivery? Is that real? Wait, is that Deliveroo? Is Deliveroo the same thing? No, it's not. No, it's free Deliveroo Plus with Prime. Is it called Amazon Prime? Oh, sorry, is it called Amazon Delivery or something? Hey, I never knew. Yeah, we don't have that. I don't think we have that in Ireland. I could be wrong, but in US we have Amazon Fresh and Whole Foods Market. Okay, yeah, we don't have that. Well, maybe we do, but I have no idea. I've been very good. Not to show off or anything, but I haven't had takeout in over a month. I have to. I was trying to fit into some dresses coming up for the weddings now. Yeah. I guess I was traveling a lot recently, and you just eat bad food. It's not even about losing weight or anything. You're loaded, feel like shit. Your poop isn't coming out on time. You know, it's just, when you travel and eat a lot of bad food, it just fucks up your system for a long time. But now you are married and you can let yourself go. That's true. That is true. Hi, George. Welcome in. Yeah, I know a lot of YouTubers I watch. They are sponsored by these apps where they have all your subscriptions kind of ready to go, and you can just like cancel and switch them on really easily. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to stick to DIY traveling, exactly. Hey, Logitech Al, how are you keeping? We almost got takeout last night. Went to the store instead. Oh, well done, Swallowed. That triumph is very, very good. But it's portioned. That's fair, yeah. Portions are really, really tough. Speaking of, I do actually have to end stream on time, so even if we get too addicted to Mass Effect later today, I'm on cooking. So I have to finish the latest 7. Guys, to cook dinner today. But you'll see me again on Wednesday, and again on Saturday, and again on Sunday. And then I'll be gone for almost 2 weeks. I'm going to Latvia, baby. No, I don't have any plans. And I literally just finished the Odyssey a couple of months ago. I finished reading Stephen Fry's version. I should. Yeah, I do. I have loads of circuit stuff here, and I usually build a lot for it. But I think today and yesterday was a very theory heavy lesson because it's a bit different for me. Yeah, food delivery is just so expensive. First of all, Just Eat and Deliveroo here in Ireland are charging €3 to €5 for delivery baseline. Okay? Full stop. They're charging up to that. And then you have to have a minimum delivery order of €15 or €20. And you might think, Jesus, that's a lot. But by the time you order, a main, which doesn't come with a side now, so you have to select a side separately and select a drink and all of that, it easily comes out €30 delivery. So you pay €30 for like a curry, rice, and a can of Coke. So yeah, the price is just, I'm not up for it anymore. Yeah, learning to drive the car is nicer as well. It was a great experience. That sounds like a lot of fun, yeah. Welcome to the end game of capitalism. I mean, they're doing that also with the AI now. Am I right in saying that like all the free versions of Gen AI now are shit? I don't know. Again, I don't use anything. I have used ChatGPT on many occasions to test my stuff for students. I have to what's called ChatGPT proof my assignments. I won't get into that. But I know Copilot is a thing and there's all these different websites, but they're all subscription based. And apparently some of the Gen AI websites out there are like $100 for subscription a month. And they're supposed to be amazing. That's what we're discussing a lot at university level, that there's going to be a lot of kids who can afford really good AI to do their assignments for them versus poor kids who actually have to do the work. Among others, are mostly operating at a loss to create reliance. Then they'll work on. Yeah, we can kind of see that Swallowed, that they work at a loss first, create an over reliance, and then upcharge. I'm hoping for an AI bubble burst as well. Yeah. Yeah, me too. It's going to be weird, bees. Yeah, it's going to be weird. We already see it at university level that there was a lot of kids who just got degrees relying on AI. I don't know about too many other degrees, so I won't spout too much nonsense on things that I'm not well informed. So I can only speak from my peers. I have a couple of friends in the chat who are programmers and are complaining about the concerns of the youngsters coming in. And even my dad, he also works in programming and he's been a senior programmer for eons. And he's startled to see the level of coding ability coming from students and the creation of the code and the fixing is just insane. I was very surprised to hear that dad doesn't use AI at all. Although, yeah, I don't know. It must be very difficult, Chippy. And there's like the extreme other end. You can have a very talented student that uses very lovely language and then gets called out for AI when... It would be interesting though. I do feel like a lot of English and history, like art-based degrees, were also punishing writing styles that were unique or different. Technically grammatically correct and everything like that. But you know, lecturers or teachers would mark like, oh, I hate this writing style. I'm going to mark the student down. I think maybe now with Gen AI emerging, unique writing styles are not going to be punished as much. I could be wrong, but that's maybe something positive to come out of it. I'm trying to see this in a little bit of glass half full. In business for adoption last year, I saw they mostly relied on AI coding. In the end, they had a program project that looked awesome. None of them could explain how it actually worked. Oh my god. Jesus. Imagine writing a bunch of code for like an experiment. I forgot about that. Like imagine writing a whole bunch of code from AI for an experiment and you don't understand what it does. It kind of works. It works as far as what you can see. But because you don't know what it does, you can't even validate the results that you obtained for publication. Isn't that kind of scary a little bit? And I always say, I always tell you guys, AI doesn't go to prison. Infinite money glitch. Jim, welcome in with a 30 stream streak. Welcome, welcome. Just trust the process. In the end, it'll all be fine. There's also the counter arguments, of course, with AI. I get it that, you know, when we got calculators, the same arguments were made. When we started writing lab reports in Word, when we started typing instead of writing all our assignments, you know, all of these little things, I understand are very... There is an evolution towards it. But yeah. I don't see it that way. Oh yeah, I've seen about the car driving algorithm. Yes. Yeah, that's true, Bees. I've counter argued the calculator argument previously. I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of aspect for it. It's true, you're not going to do long division by hand when you have a calculator, but I don't know what your education system was like. Even with the invention of the calculator, we still didn't get to use the calculator in primary school. You still did long division and long multiplication and all that stuff in primary school. You had no access to a calculator to do that for you. You still had to learn basic arithmetics and mental maths. You still need to know the basics, exactly. Yeah. I don't know, Dashmek, because like with every generation, it depends obviously in which society. I'm going to talk about Ireland and mostly Europe. That the education, the education of the average person is increased. More education has become more accessible, and the system has changed to make sure to give as much education as possible to many people. And so the curriculum has changed as well. What is AGI? I don't know what that is. Artificial general oh, is that... Wait. Is that a new word for the actual word AI? Because I know we use the word artificial intelligence loosely. It's not real AI of what we've known from before. So is artificial general intelligence now what AI used to be? Okay, so we're working backwards then. Okay. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. Adjusted gross income. Hi, Kater. Welcome in. I suppose another kind of point to make about the calculator argument is that although, let's say, a lot of people are pointing out that there's a lot more mathematics that younger or like the younger generation aren't able to do versus the older generation, I would point out that there's a lot more complex stuff now that the older generation can do and are able to understand conceptually, at least at a mathematical level, more than ever before. It did become a lot more accessible to learn a lot more advanced mathematics by the average person. So I suppose then the question is, if there's a lot of people not so against AI, can you point out to me where AI, Gen AI in this case, will make the average person a lot smarter than ever before? Where's the argument in that one? So with the calculator, a lot more advanced mathematics could be done by the average person. Is there anything that AI can now do for the average person than ever before? It doesn't teach you to write because you're not learning to write. If it's going to make you do a lot more, as in you're not doing the writing, it's developed the writing for you. If you're going to talk about, oh, it helps you improve your ability with the English language. It changes your text, but it doesn't teach you to do it. You can do a lot more in less time. But again, that's not the same thing. It's cutting down time, work, and effort, but it doesn't teach you to do more though. And in fact, that jump is an interesting kind of assessment, is that if you're not doing repetition, are you in reinforcing any learning aspect at all? I can learn something. I do learn a lot of things all the time. And the reason why it gets reinforced over and over again is because I get to teach it. If I don't teach it, over the years I lose it, right? If you lose the repetition aspect that you've dumped into AI, but that's not what's happening. The basics are not being learned by a majority of students. None of the students are actually learning. I say none. I'd be very lucky if 1 in 100 actually use it in the way that is being stated. Very lucky if 1 in 100 are using it that way. While my counter-argument with the calculator is that we can see, it has been shown that the average education and mathematical ability with the enforcement of the calculator has been increased. This music isn't helping. I can't actually hear the music. I know it's Fallout. It's very nice and amazing and positive if you guys are using it. But there has been a lot of research in the last, I would say 6 months, which shows that the usage of AI has deteriorated the critical thinking and ability of students. There's a good bit of research on this. Very, very interesting. Maybe something that we can do. But almost everything and anything in this world can be used. It is a social problem. That's the kind of idea of, like, again, maybe I'm getting too political, but saying something like legalizing guns. It's not the gun problem, it's how people use the guns. It's like, well, if you didn't have guns in the first place. I know, but I'm getting a bit more political now about that topic. Along the skills that are being lost. I don't think it's reinforcing any new skills in that case. No, I was making that statement based on the idea of it's a social problem versus an AI problem. And we're not even talking about the morals, what AI is doing. We can also solve air pollution by removing... We could! Absolutely. That is a solution. We should all just, as mankind, we'll go down a very dark road. Yeah, cleaning up the vibe coding can be very, very stressful as well. I don't know. As open to argument and debate, every argument and debate I've heard and seen has just not been good enough to me to support most of it, Gen AI, in any way. And And I'm not talking about machine learning systems because they've been around for a long, long time. You know, a lot of my colleagues were working on these kind of codes eons and eons before. That's a different thing. But there's a lot of research and data to support the issues and the concerns that I've been pointing out for a long time. And although, again, so many of you pointed out how amazing you're using AI and how it's helped you in a lot of things. And it's great if you're benefiting from it. But perhaps, and again, my viewership is quite an older generation, we're viewing it from a completely different lens. The way we use it is very, very different. Our reliance on it is very, very different from the young generation coming in, the high school level students at the moment and the university level students that have grown up with it. There's a difference between those two. And then again, we can start talking about the moral implications as well. There's too much. Yeah, I'm not sure. That still only captures one.
Good news, everyone!
That's true, Swallowed. I kind of agree with that. And I guess that's the problem, or one of the arguments that people say, oh, it simplifies a lot of repetition. And although I can see that it can do that, repetition is how you learn. One of the methods of learning. Failing is one of them. Failing, you need to fail. Would you quit your job to hold that point and not support it? Oh, that's very interesting, Dashmit. So it's very weird in my case. In my case in university, it's not even like, let's say my university joined forces together and said, we're not going to accept AI anything. Let's say they said that. And I think most universities actually want to do that. The fact is, there's absolutely no way of reinforcing that. And accusations are a big thing. They're going to use AI. How do you enforce it? How do you claim that one person used AI versus another? Can't do that. You can't point a finger and say black and white that the student used AI without proof. And like, what is proof? You have to catch them using it, you know? How about we use AI to... It's very bad at doing that, Kip. So Turnitin was the classical one, and they're retracting it because its ability to predict gives too many false negatives and false positives. Can't stand over it. But ChatGPT will hallucinate, you know? Hi, Tom Gunner. Yeah, that's what we're doing in most universities. We're moving back to exams. If it was my opinion, I would say don't use it. Not when you're learning. Don't use it for learning. Not when you're learning. All right. We've debated enough about this. You guys know where I stand with it. It's something that, look, again, I've used it. I have to. It's part of my job. A lot of things that claim to be AI aren't actually AI. And yeah, I guess I stand on the idea that I have a lot of wariness, a lot of worriness, and there's a lot of studies already to support this, that people using AI in their youth, as in the high school, the university level students, has had a negative impact on their ability and performance. And that is where, you know, maybe a line needs to be drawn. Mercer, thank you so much for your prime. Really, really appreciate it. It reminds me of, do you know in Star Trek episode, that war when they started doing mutations on people, genetic mutations on people, and they made them smarter, faster, and better. Obviously, that's a good thing. That's making people, you know, better performing stuff. But then you had Khan, right? The eugenic wars, exactly. Until you made, exactly. And that wasn't a majority of those genetically modified people. Khan wasn't everyone. It was a very, very minor, but they still changed the whole idea, the whole principle, the whole aspect of it. Because of people like Khan. Now, obviously, take a grain of salt of what I'm saying. When it comes to comparing our universe to Star Trek and trying to obtaining a Star Trek utopia. But it's just an example to show that just because there's a lot of benefit doesn't mean perhaps the negativity should be enough to completely cancel it out. I mean, we do that all the time. Dangerous cars, fumes, lead was amazing. Lead was very, very good. Yes, it had a lot of bad stuff, but it was amazing for a lot of stuff. We still cut back on it, completely removed it in many things. Mercury was great for so many things in science, but we still had to remove it for health and safety, and we're constantly updating our carcinogenics and so on and so forth. For the greater good, perhaps, there might be debates and talks about. They're cautionary tales, yeah. Star Trek is quite cautionary. Alright. I'll go pee. I'll come back. And we will have a bit of fun. To YouTube, I will say goodbye. Goodbye, YouTube. I'll stop my stream there. Instead of ranting for too much longer. I apologize. Right. See you guys in a bit. Bye-bye, YouTube.